Yo, this is Noah Cuz. I'm back on the Splitmind channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down this sample that I made. Kind of sounds like something that Travis Scott would get on. I could definitely hear a producer like PVLACE making something that sounds like this. It has like some dark synth vibes, but also some real instruments in there too. I also do some crazy chopping and processing throughout this video, so make sure you watch all the way through. I used my antimatter analog lab bank in this. If you want to get that, you can get it from the first link in the description. But yeah, this is what the loop sounds like. Alright, so you guys get the point. I'm going to jump into the breakdown. So I started by setting the BPM to 73. This is the first sound that I used. It's from my analog lab bank, and this is what it sounds like. Alright, so these chords are really simple. It's just two minor chords. This is an F minor, and then this is a C minor chord. So it's a 1-5 chord progression. I just inverted the root up 1 octave. And then on this third chord, I added this D on top because it added some tension. And then on this last one, I added this D sharp, which is the third of the original, and I just stacked that up an octave. So for effects on this, I have a Pro Q3 cutting out the lows and the highs. Next, I have this preset from Portal, and I brought the mix down some. Next, I added this reverb, and I brought down the size and the wet knob some. And then finally, I went into the sketch cassette. I brought down the age, and then changed some of these settings. The next sound I added was this bell one shot playing the same chords, but I just inverted them some, and this is what it sounds like. Alright, so for effects on this, I added a bandpass narrow, cutting out the lows and the highs, making it sound more vintage. And then I went into this Portal preset and I brought down the mix some, and that's what really gives it that texture. And then on the channel EQ, I cut out the lows and then boosted a lot of the mids just to get the sound I was going for. The next sound I added was this piano from Contact. For some reason, the specific preset won't load, but it's the over the top preset from the sound design folder. And yeah, I just followed the root notes for this one. I went F to C. Pretty simple. And then I also stacked it an octave below just to give the whole loop some body. So for effects, I added this Valve compressor with a little bit of compression, and then this channel EQ, cutting out the lows, cutting out all of the highs, and then just boosting some lower mids. You can also see I made it more mono. All right, this next sound is a one shot. I'm just gonna play it. So I just made a really simple top line melody, but I added these slide notes where I thought they needed to be. And you can also see that I chopped up these notes back here just because I thought that it sounded cool. So for effects, I added this reverb intensity into this EQ. Next, I added this Portal preset, and I brought the mix to around 40%. Next, I added Soothe 2 to get rid of some of the resonance. And then I added this phaser plugin into this sketch cassette with this Chrome Comp preset. And then finally, I added this Air preset for Microshift. I also wanted to add another synth in here, so I grabbed this one shot and then chopped it up to how I wanted it to sound. And also, that has the same exact effects chain as the first synth lead. Alright, so the last sound was the synth bass from my analog lab bank, and I didn't add any effects on this one. This is what it sounds like. So really simple, once again following the root notes. And then at the end, I just added this run so that way it could transition from C back to F. So after I did that, I bounced out all of these sounds individually and I did some chopping. So this first one, I chopped out the last beat of the first bar. I right clicked, make unique as sample, then I reversed it, brought the in knob up, and then I pitched it up some. And this is what that sounds like. And then while that reverse part was playing, I cut out that section of the next two sounds to let that part really shine through. So I also did the same kind of thing with this synth lead, but I just did this part right here. But instead of doing it on this beat, I did it back here more. but you can see I did the same kind of thing, reverse, in knob, and then I pitched it up an octave. So this is what the synth lead sounds like with it. I did that same sort of chopping with the synth bass too, just cutting out the dead space that I didn't want in there. That's a really good way to get that sampled feel that you're trying to go for in these melodies. So next I just added some perks. I added this perk loop, and you can see I added an automation clip to the volume. It's just the same perk loop playing over and over again. And then after the perk loop, I added this rim, and then on the next bar, I added 3 of the rims on a triplet pattern. This is what they sound like together. I have them both going to the same mixer track. I added this bandpass Nara EQ into this shaper box with a left and right pan on a 4-bar loop, and then I cut even more lows out with the channel EQ. So after I had all of those sounds, I structured out the loop and then bounced them all together and then put these master effects on it. First I pitched it down 2 semitones. Next I added this EQ, just boosting some of the highs because I wanted those to come out a little bit more. Next I added a sketch cassette with this chrome comp preset into this mid-side matrix, just bringing the sides up a lot. And then I added soothe too, just getting rid of even more resonance to make it sound more clean. And then finally I added this limiter just to make it more loud at the end. So yeah, that's the whole sample. It's actually pretty simple when you break it down, but when you hear it, it sounds super complex and there's a lot of movement. But yeah, like I said earlier, if you want some of these sounds, you can get it from my Antimatter Analog Lab Bank. It's going to be the first link in the description. Let me know in the comments what you want to see in the next video. Make sure you subscribe to Splitmind and follow me on Instagram at NoahCuz. I'm going to play the sample at the end of this video. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm out. Peace.